We're 2 gyms deep now and we're coming to the end of the early game, and that means the world is getting bigger, the battles are getting tougher, and it might just be time for us to catch some more Pokemon. So it's time to answer the question, how long does it take to get to the 3rd gym in every Pokemon game? So I'm going to assume that if you're watching this video, you've probably seen the previous 2, but if you haven't, just go and watch the first 5 minutes of those so I don't have to do the whole spiel again. Or don't, honestly, it's not that complicated of a concept. So let's kick this off with...
仲間が増えるロールプレイング。ポケットモンスター。赤を買うか緑を買うかちょっと違うよ。
Continuing on from last time, we make our way into the Cerulean City Gym, and pause. Now, in the last couple of videos, we've talked a whole bunch about the different starter Pokemon in each game, but there's another member of any good team that's just as important, and that is the HM Slave. So we're going to figure out who is the best one for every single game, and luckily, this isn't going to be hard because Mew can learn not only every TM in Generation 1, but also all 5 HMs. Cut, Fly, Surf, Strength, and Flash. So that was easy. But you can't really get a Mew in Red, Blue, and Yellow without glitches, so it's not the most practical solution for an actual playthrough. Looking at the Pokemon you can actually catch in the game, Lickitung and Krabby both do pretty well, learning 3 out of 5 HMs each with Cut, Surf, and Strength, but they're both fairly late game Pokemon, with Krabby requiring a Super Rod to catch and Lickitung being an in-game trade for a Slowbro. Actually, Slowbro isn't too bad itself, also learning 3 out of 5 HMs with Surf, Strength, and Flash. But Flash is pretty close to useless, so that's basically 2 out of 5. Now, if you're happy to sacrifice a few move slots on your starter Pokemon, Charizard can learn Cut, Strength, and Fly. But only in Yellow, it can't learn Fly in Red and Blue, so that's not really all that helpful. So we're not going to get a Pokemon who can learn all 5 without using glitches, or just the 4 that actually matter if we're ignoring Flash, but there are a few combinations of 2 Pokemon that can learn all 5 HMs. For example, a Lickitung with Cut, Surf, and Strength paired up with a Zapdos who can learn Fly and Flash, which gives you all 5 HMs with just 2 Pokemon. But that is a very impractical combination, and definitely a little bit of a late game thing, so instead, what if we just use our starter, because Squirtle can learn Strength and Surf, both of which are actually pretty good attacks, and Farfetch'd can learn Cut and Fly. And I don't care about Flash, so that's all the important HMs covered by just 1 extra Pokemon. And luckily, there is an in-game trade for a Farfetch'd in Vermilion City, which is exactly when we're gonna need it. So we catch ourselves a Spearow, which we're just going to trade for a Farfetch'd later on, and name it Vermidou. And unpause. We take on the Water-type gym leader Misty with her level 18 Staryu and level 21 Starmie to earn our Cascade badge and the TM for Bubble Beam, which we immediately teach to Franco. We head out the front door of the gym and make our way up north, where we run into Blue with his level 18 Pidgeotto, level 15 Abra, level 15 Rattata, and level 17 Bulbasaur. After the battle, Blue tells us that he's on the way back from meeting the Pokemaniac Bill, who created the PC storage system and apparently has some rare Pokemon. So we continue up north to the Nugget Bridge, where we are challenged by 5 trainers with the promise of a fabulous prize. We beat the 5 trainers and are rewarded with a nugget and an offer to join Team Rocket, and before we can even say yes, this dude goes full Godfather on us and is like,
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
And just really quickly, I always loved this part of the game, thematically, because before the Nugget Bridge, every Team Rocket grunt was dressed in all black and holding a whip. There was no ambiguity, these were the bad guys. But now, Team Rocket could be anywhere. They could be anyone. They're recruiting normal trainers to battle kids on a bridge, to try to recruit more trainers to battle more kids on more bridges to recruit more trainers. This shit is getting out of control. I don't know, I always thought it was cool, but we keep moving on and battle a whole bunch of trainers because there's a lot of trainer battles in this part of the game, and I know what you're thinking. Is he just going to overlevel his starter and steamroll everything? And the answer may surprise you. The answer is yes, but eventually we make it to Bill's house where we find a mysterious talking Pokemon who turns out to be Bill. He tells us that he accidentally turned himself into a Pokemon and that he needs our help to turn himself back. So we initiate the Transporter's Cell Separator and turn Bill back into Bill. He thanks us by giving us a ticket to the SS Anne cruise ship in Vermilion City before we make our way back to Cerulean, where we learn that crime has occurred and some of the locals have just been robbed. We find the thief just kinda hanging out behind the house, doing a terrible job of actually, fleeing the crime scene like a proper criminal, but we take down his Machop and Drowsy before he gives us back the stolen TM for Dig, which we do not give back to the original owners, but instead teach to Franco before we flee the crime scene like a proper criminal. We continue down south and through the underground pass before arriving in Vermilion City, where we head straight to the SS Anne. We get on the boat, and look, I know I'm supposed to be going as fast as I can, but there's something really important I gotta do real quick, because let's be honest, you guys totally all did this too. I gotta check the bins, I gotta do it, I can't help myself. It's a mandatory part of the game, okay? We head up to see the captain and run into Blue again with his level 19 Pidgeotto, level 16 Raticate, level 18 Kadabra, and level 20 Ivysaur, who may have been a little bit scary, but thanks to the janky Gen 1 programming, Dig is super effective against his Ivysaur. Well, actually, it's just neutral and the text is wrong because it's only taking into consideration the secondary poison timing, but either way, it's enough to take it down. After the battle, we head in to see the captain, who's not feeling so good right now, so we give him a little rub and tug, and that makes him feel a whole lot better, so he gives us the HM for Cut. We make our way off the boat and back to Vermilion City, where we find a little girl who's keen to try out our first ever in-game trade. We trade Vermidou the Spearow for Dux the Farfetch'd, and immediately teach it Cut. We cut down the tree that was blocking the gym and walk through the doors with a time of 28 minutes and 9 seconds. Let's check out
ガンも好きでしたよね。
ゲームボーイポケットモンスター新発売
We head into the Cerulean City gym and pause. So this is a little bit awkward because the whole Farfetch trade thing we just did in Red and Blue, well, it's not a thing in these games, which means we're gonna have to come up with something else. Luckily, that's not going to be too hard because they straight up give you the 3 Kanto starters in these games, the first of which is Bulbasaur, who can learn Cut. But you can't actually get the cabbage until your Pikachu has an invisible happiness stat that is higher than 146. So we abuse the janky Gen 1 programming and give Zachary potions that he doesn't need until he loves me. And then we grab ourselves a Bulbasaur, name it Mirage, and unpause. We take on Misty, who has the exact same Staryu and Starmie as last time, but Zachary actually sees some action here, getting off a Thunder Wave to help Jonathan take down the Starfish. We head up north to take on Blue, whose team has changed up a fair bit, with a level 18 Spearow replacing his Pidgeotto, a level 15 Sandshrew replacing his Abra. He keeps the level 15 Rattata, but now he has a level 17 Eevee. We battle our way through the Nugget Bridge, decline an offer we can't refuse, and completely skip the free Charmander because we've already got Mirage, and Mirage is all we need. We make our way out to Bill's house, where Pikachu is like, what the fuck? Before we grab the ticket, head to the boat, check the bins, and take on Blue with his level 19 Spearow, level 16 Rattata, level 18 Sandshrew, and level 20 Eevee before we rub off the old man and grab the HM for Cut. But this time, we don't need to stop for the duck, so we cut down the tree and head into the doors of the gym at 26 minutes and 19 seconds. Now, it's going to be pretty hard for me to give an honest and unbiased review here because this might be my favorite run between any 2 gyms in any of the games. Now, this is obviously about 90 to 95% pure nostalgia here, and we already talked about how much I love the whole Nugget Bridge thing, but we also get Bill turning himself into a Pokemon, some more Team Rocket shenanigans, we get all 3 starters in yellow, and we get the entire SS Anne to explore. Plus, we didn't even touch the Diglett's Tunnel and the entirety of Route 11 where you first encounter the whole Snorlax on the road thing, as well as the first ever introduction to the fishing mechanic, the first ever introduction to in-game trades, the first ever Pokemon daycare, and of course, the first ever introduction to HMs. Look, even if you're not a big fan of the old games, or you just don't like Red and Blue for whatever, you have to admit that this part of the game is special, and it's influenced every generation of Pokemon moving forward, from the SS Aqua in Gold and Silver, to the Fishing Rod in Sword and Shield, to the Snorlax in X and Y, to the breeding in Scarlet and Violet, or the Ride Pokemon of the modern games replacing HMs. It all traces back to these 160 by 144 pixels. And a few bins on a boat. Next up!
ポケモンの新事実続々
いよいよ始まるゲームボーイソフトポケットモンスター金銀
We make our way into the Azalea Town gym and pause. We've got 7 HMs now with Cut, Fly, Surf, Strength, and Flash, but also 2 new HMs with Whirlpool and Waterfall, both of which are Water-type moves, which means there are 3 Water-type HMs now, so we're probably gonna need a Water-type. Ignoring Mew again, there are 3 Pokemon who can learn 5 out of 7 HMs with Lugia, Dragonite, and Psyduck. Now, obviously, the Legendary and Pseudo-Legendary are more late-game picks, so Psyduck's looking pretty good here. But even though it's available as early as the Ilex Forest, you need to already have Surf to find it, at least in Gold and Silver, so the Duck's not actually that helpful. But what we can do is teach Surf to our Totodile, because Surf's actually a really good attack, and then use Totodile to grab our Psyduck. Or better yet, there's actually another Water-type Pokemon that you have to battle as part of the story that does pretty much the same thing as Psyduck, because the shiny red Gyarados can learn Surf, Strength, Whirlpool, and Waterfall, which only leaves Cut and Fly. And I think I know just the Pokemon for that. Unfortunately, the Duck isn't around until a little bit later in the game, so we're just going to catch any random Pokemon to use Cut until we get our Duck. So let's grab a Sentret and name it Dakota. And unpause. We continue on through the gym, and Wally evolves into a beautiful Croconaw before we take on the Bug-type gym leader Bugsy with his level 14 Metapod, level 14 Kakuna, and level 16 Scyther to earn our Hive badge and the TM4 Fury Cutter. We head out the front door of the gym and are immediately stopped by Silver, who's keen for a battle, so we take down his level 12 Ghastly, and as much shit as I've been talking on Chikorita, we're in a teensy bit of trouble here, so we're gonna fight a little dirty and spam Mud Slap against his level 16 Bayleaf to reduce its accuracy to the point where it doesn't commit straight up homicide on us before taking down his level 14 Zubat. He then tells us how he feels about weak Pokemon. After the battle, we make our way into the Ilex Forest, where we come across a young man who has lost his Farfetch'd. We sneak up on the Duck and chase it back to the kid, where his boss turns up and thanks us for helping out by giving us the HM for Cut, which is very convenient because there seems to be one of those cut trees blocking the road like right next to this dude. So we teach Cut to Dakota and keep heading north towards Goldenrod City. We dodge a few trainers on the way, completely ignore the daycare even exists, and bail straight through Goldenrod and into the doors of the gym with a time of 9 minutes and 45 seconds. Let's see what we get in...
この少年何者
まだ君の知らない謎がきっとあるゲームボーイカラー専用ソフトポケットモンスタークリスタルバージョン高柳です渡辺です
We grab ourselves a Sentret and name it Teeth before we make our way through the gym where Crystal evolves into a Croconaw. We take on Bugsy with the exact same team as last time before we head out of the gym to battle Silver, who also has the same team as last time, which means once again, we're fighting dirty and spamming Mud Slap. Now, between the first and second gyms, there were a fair few changes between Gold and Silver and Crystal. Nothing crazy, but enough to give Crystal its own identity. This time, there is not a lot going on here. It's literally exactly the same. I guess one little thing that I thought was kind of interesting is that Spinarak changes colors between versions, because this little guy was purple in Gold and Silver and green in Crystal. And it's been green ever since. Yeah, there's not much to talk about here, but we walk into the gym with a time of 9 minutes and 39 seconds, which is just 6 seconds faster than Gold and Silver, which doesn't really mean anything, but I'm going to take it as a win. Now, this was obviously a pretty short run with not a whole lot going on if you're just smashing out the gyms as fast as possible, but there are a few little optional things that we just completely ignored that you can really sink a lot of time into if you wanted to. The first of which is in the Ilex Forest, where this guy teaches one of your Pokemon the move Headbutt, which opens up a whole new way to encounter a bunch of rare Pokemon that you can only find in these trees. Assuming you've spent 5 to 10 years completing a degree on how the hell these trees actually work. We also get our first ever introduction to Pokemon breeding with the Goldenrod Daycare Center, where just like in Red and Blue, you can leave a Pokemon to level up over time, but this time you can leave 2 Pokemon who... alright, when a Pikachu and a Japanese Ditto love each other very much, they, make an egg with a baby whose IVs, natures, and shiny odds can be manipulated through the use of the Destiny Knot, Everstone, and Shiny Charm respectively. Just like human babies. Next up is...
全く新しい冒険がここから始まる。ポケットモンスター、ルビーとサファイア。
We make our way into the Juford Town gym where someone's turned the lights off and I can't see shit. And also pause. We are up to 8 HMs now, which is a new record that may be matched but never beaten. We've lost Whirlpool, but we've added Rock Smash as a HM, which was previously only a TM. And also added Dive as a new HM, which means once again, we're gonna need a water type. Now there's a whole bunch of legendaries who learn a whole bunch of HMs, but something late game blah blah, not practical, you get the point. Legendaries aren't good HM slaves. But we also have a very good showing from Ludicolo, who can not only be found early, but also learn 6 out of 8 HMs, and is version exclusive to Sapphire. And we're playing Ruby, so that's no help. We also don't have Farfetch to fall back on anymore, because the duck is not in these games. But what we do have is better Farfetched, also known as Tropius, who learns Cut, Fly, Strength, Flash, and Rock Smash. So with Tropius, and basically any water type, we can cover all 8 HMs with just 2 Pokemon. Now unfortunately we can't just lazily go with Lotad because Lotad isn't in this game, but there is another water type who is not only available in both games, but also learns every HM that Tropius doesn't. And that Pokemon is... Peekaboo. Sorry, Marill, who learns Surf, Strength, Rock Smash, Waterfall, and Dive. Now Marill can be found very early in Emerald, but in Ruby, we gotta go for a little bit of a walk, so through the power of editing, we grab ourselves a Marill and name it Slapnuts. And unpause. And I still can't see shit, but after each battle, the light gets a little bit brighter and we can see a little bit more. And it's a cute little introduction to the flash mechanic, so I like it. We take on the fighting type gym leader Brawly with his level 17 Machop and level 18 Makuhita to earn our Knuckle Badge and the TM4 Bulk Up. We head out the front door of the gym, and we should probably actually take that letter to Steven, so we make our way to the Granite Cave, where a very kind hiker gives us the HM for Flash. But we don't actually use Flash, because that shit's for pussies, so we just kind of run around blindly for a while, face planting a few walls, and eventually we find Steven, who's just kind of hanging out in a cave. As you do, but we give him the letter from the president, and then he gives us the TM4 Steelwing that we don't really care about, and then he leaves. Nice guy. Now all we gotta do is deliver the Devon goods. We head back to see Mr. Bryony, who once again takes us for a boat ride, but this time we are bound for Slateport City. We head to the Stearns shipyard, but apparently Captain Stearns not here, so instead we go check out the Oceanic Museum, where there's a whole lot of those Team Magma dudes hanging around, but we head upstairs where we finally find Captain Stern and hand over the Devon goods. But once again we are ambushed by Team Magma, who want to steal the Devon goods, so we have a quick battle, which we win very easily, but then a new Team Magma guy turns up, and he seems kinda pissed. Turns out his name's Maxi, and he tells us all about Team Magma's plan to expand the world's landmass by reducing the world's oceans, which is like reverse global warming, so I guess that makes him the good guy? Either way, he leaves and so do we, but on the way out, we find one straggling member of Team Magma who gives us the TM4 Thief, which is a nice touch. Well played, Game Freak. Now that all our little errands are dealt with, we can keep moving forward and make our way up north, and look, I'm just going to pause for a second here and heal up, because this is going to suck. We run into May, and this is definitely one of the most difficult battles in all of Pokemon if you're not prepared, because her level 20 Grovyle does 4 times damage to Awkward over here with Stab Absorb, and also heals itself with every attack, so we're gonna have to fight dirty again and spam the shit out of Mudslap. And let's all just pretend that I didn't have to reset like 8 times to actually get through this battle, but eventually we take down the Grovyle, as well as her level 18 Wailmer and level 18 Numel. We keep moving north, battle a couple of trainers I probably could have avoided, and make our way to Moorville City, where we find Wally and his uncle hanging outside the gym. Wally wants to take on the gym, but his uncle's not so sure that he's ready, so Wally asks us for a quick battle to prove how strong he's gotten. Unfortunately, we absolutely embarrass him, and, well, this is awkward. Thank you, I thought that was a pretty good one. After the battle, Wally's uncle invites us to their place in Verdanturf, but we ignore him and go straight through the doors of the gym with a time of 17 minutes and 40 seconds. Let's have a look at...
今明かされる応援地方もう一つの物語ゲームボーイアドバンスポケットモンスターエメラルド
We grab ourselves a Marill and name it Adam before we make our way through the gym to take on Brawly, whose Machop has gone down from level 17 to level 16, but he's added in a level 16 Meditite, as well as keeping his Makuhita, who has gone up from level 18 to level 19. We head out of the gym, stumble our way blindly through the Granite Cave and meet Steven, then jump on the boat, head over to Slateport and drop off the Devon goods. But this time, it's Team Aqua who's pulling off the ambush. We meet Archie, who tells us all about Team Aqua's plan to expand the world's oceans, which is pretty much just what's going on in real life now anyways. Game Freak tried to warn us, we didn't listen.
Temperature increases are taking place all over the world, and that's causing stronger storms.
We head outside where a man named Scott stops by for a quick chat. We ignore him and keep moving north where Professor Birch stops by for a quick chat before I forget that double battles exist and Adam gets thrown in the deep end, but somehow actually makes it out alive. But now, we gotta battle Brendan, whose level 18 Slugma and Wingull go down pretty easily. But once his level 20 Grovyle comes out, we're back to spamming Mudslap and praying for crits. Eventually we get the lucky crit and keep moving on towards Moorville, where we have a quick battle with Wally before heading through the doors with a time of 21 minutes flat. Now this stretch of the game gives us a nice little transition between the more linear events of the first 2 gyms into some more freedom to explore the world moving forward. We get an end to our little delivery man side quest thing we had going on when we drop off the letter and the Devon goods, but from this point on, there is very little hand-holding compared to the previous section. Like, I know where to go, because I played the game before, but it would be so easy to get sidetracked with all the extra little stuff they throw in between these 2 gyms. You could spend literally hours just dicking around with a new Pokemon contest if you wanted to, or just explore the beaches and the markets and all the different optional routes, or try out the timed races on the new bike track. Or do what I did when I was a kid and devote all of your time and energy into the Trick Master's Trick House to complete all 8 puzzles and defeat the Trick House champion. I really wish they kept the Trick House in for the rest of the game, because this place was a lot of fun. But these games definitely start to transition away from that early game tutorial feel and into a much more open world. Not like an actual open world, but you get my point. There's a much greater focus on world building here. The story's still there, but it's kind of under the radar, with the threat of Team Magma/Aqua always sort of looming in the background, but not being the main focus anymore. For now. But let's see what's going on in...
あのポケモンたちと一緒に新しくなった冒険へ出かけよう。ポケットモンスターファイアレッドとリーフグリーン。ワイヤレスアダプタ付き。
Now the Farfetch'd trade is back in these games, so we grab ourselves a Spearow and name it Clove. We make our way into the gym to take on Misty with her same old Staryu and Starmie, but this time we get the TM4 Water Pulse, which we immediately teach to Taylor. We head out of the gym and up north to battle Blue, whose team is almost exactly the same as Red and Blue, plus or minus a level here and there, with a level 17 Pidgeotto, level 16 Abra, level 15 Rattata, and level 18 Bulbasaur. He gives us a quick smell you later, and we're off to the Nugget Bridge. We take down the 5 trainers while my man's still quoting The Godfather, and we head over to see Bill. We do the whole self-separation thing before we grab the ticket, head to the boat, check the pins, and take on Blue. Now, we don't have the janky Gen 1 super effective 100 base power dig to abuse this time, but we do get very lucky with flinches from Bite to take out his level 20 Ivysaur, level 19 Pidgeotto, level 18 Kadabra, and literally murder his level 16 Raticate. We rob an old man, trade Clove for a far-fetched named Chading, and head into the doors of the gym with a time of 27 minutes and 25 seconds. Next up,
遠く離れた友達と会話をしながら対戦できる任天堂 DS ポケットモンスターダイヤモンドとパール
we make our way through the Eterna City gym and pause. So, we've still got 8 HMs this time, but we swapped out Flash for Defog, which we also don't care about, and have gone from diving down to climbing up with Rock Climb. So let's figure out who the best HM slaves are in Generation 4. It's Bidoof and Starly. And unpause. No, but seriously though, if you're gonna make a top 10 HM slaves video, you would have a Bibarel on the thumbnail, because this little guy is like the poster child of HM slaves. Even the official Pokemon company knows what's up. But there is actually one Pokemon that is even better than the Beaver. Empoleon can learn every single HM. Except fly, because penguins can't fly, but that's still pretty good. But basically, if you're playing any of the Gen 4 games, you're probably gonna catch a Bidoof or two and a bird. And that bird is probably gonna be a Starly, because everyone loves Staraptor. And so do I, so we're gonna do exactly the same thing as everyone who's ever played these games and catch a Bidoof and a Starly. We're gonna name the Bidoof Johnny, and the Starly Nikki. And unpause. We continue through the gym where we must find the sneakily hidden trainers and beat each of them in a battle before taking on the grass-type gym leader Gardenia with her level 19 Cherubi, level 19 Turtwig, which I'm pretty sure is the first time a gym leader's ever used a starter Pokemon, so that's pretty cool, and finally, her level 22 Roserade to earn our Forest Badge and the TM4 Grass Knot, which Monferno can learn for some reason. I'm not complaining, it's great for coverage, but we head out of the gym and make our way back north where we meet Cynthia, who gives us the HM4 cut. Which is very convenient because there seems to be a whole bunch of those cut trees blocking the entrance to the building that's like right there. So we teach cut to Johnny and head inside. It turns out to be a Team Galactic hideout, so we battle a bunch of galactic grunts before we make it all the way to the top floor where we find Commander Jupiter, who has apparently stolen a Clefairy from the local bike shop owner, because Clefairies are from space or something. I don't know, we kind of skipped that part of the story, but we take on Jupiter, who has a bat and a chunky skunky. Rad Rickshaw takes back his Clefairy and heads back to the bike shop, so we head over to say hi, and he gives us a bike to thank us for helping out with the thing that we didn't actually know we were helping out with, but I'll gladly take a free bike. We head over to his neighbor's house where we meet the underground man who gives us the Explorer kit, which we don't really care about, before heading down south towards Cycling Road. I realize that I am terrible at riding the bike and run into like every trainer, but after a few unnecessary battles, we meet up with Dawn, who gives us the Versus Seeker and the Dowsing Machine, which is just a fancy name for an item finder. But we keep moving on and make our first pass through Mount Coronet, where we run into a mysterious blue-haired man who just kind of rambles about how people are kind of shitty, and everything's kind of shitty, and I'm fairly sure that's just depression, dude. You should probably speak to someone about that. But we keep moving on towards Heart Home City, where we meet a Baneri and its trainer Cura, who invites us to the Pokemon Contest Hall, and that sounds just awful. So we go to the gym instead, where it turns out that the gym leader ain't here at the moment. So we go to the contest hall where the gym leader Fantina is hanging out the front. But she still doesn't want to battle us, so we head inside to find Cura and Mum, whose name is apparently Joanna. It turns out that Mum's just on a holiday and playing the tourist, but she gives us a little Pokemon tuxedo to go with the glitter that Cura gave us, and I don't want none of whatever this is. So we get the hell out of there and head south where we run into Barry. And now I kinda wish I was back at the contest hall. We take down his level 19 Starly, level 21 Prinplup, level 20 Ponyta, and level 20 Rosalia before making our way out east towards Solation Town, which is a cute little country town, but there's not much going on here. So we keep moving north where we find a few Psyduck blocking the road. So we give up on heading north and keep moving east where we get our first taste of Sinnoh weather, with a permanent rainstorm that means Joel's fire type attacks are doing 50% damage in every battle. But we get through the rainstorm and arrive in Veilstone City, where we go straight to the gym, and Dawn, this is not a good time. Alright, enjoy your shopping. I love you too. Straight through the doors with a time of 38 minutes and 4 seconds. Let's see what's changed in
新王地方に現れるもう一つの世界ポケットモンスタープラチナ
We grab ourselves a Bidoof and name it Edwin, and then a Starly, which we name Paul. We make our way through the gym, and this time we got a brand new puzzle with this like flower clock thing where you gotta battle the trainers in a specific order. It's pretty cool. But we take on Gardenia, whose Turtwig has gone from level 19 to level 20, and also her level 19 Cherubi has evolved into a level 20 Cherum, and she's still got a level 22 Roserade. We make our way out of the gym and head up north, and already things are starting to go a little differently this time, where we cop some Barry up the arse before he takes us to see the ancient statue where we find that mysterious blue-haired dude from the cave that one time. He seems a lot happier now. Nice guy. We head back to the Galactic Hideout, and things start to go pretty much the same as they went in Diamond and Pearl. Cynthia gives us the HM for cut, and we battle Commander Jupiter, but this time Looker's here to help. And also the warehouse has had a few renovations, but we save the stolen Pokemon, go grab the bike, get the Explorer kit, and head down south. We make our way through Mount Coronet, where Mr. Blue's Clues has got the depressions again, but we arrive in Hearthome City, where we have a very familiar interaction with a Baneri and its trainer Cura. But this time, when we go to the concert hall and talk to the gym leader Fantina, who didn't want anything to do with this in Diamond and Pearl, this time she's down for a battle. So she heads to the gym, which means that we don't have to dick around getting the Veilstone. We just go straight to the Hearthome City gym and through the doors with a time of 18 minutes and 1 second. And this might be the most dramatic deviation we've had between versions so far, because usually we'll get like a couple of different trainers, or maybe change up the routes a little bit, but this time we have a totally different gym in a totally different city. Now, to be fair, I kind of understand why they switched it up, because in Diamond and Pearl, there was a pretty big gap between gyms 2 and 3, and like 5 minutes between gyms 3 and 4. So it makes sense from a pacing perspective to switch it up the way they did. And also, there isn't really any good reason not to make Fantina's gym the 3rd gym. She's just vaguely like, you must become stronger. And that's kind of all they give you. So basically, I think Platinum does it better. Other than that, we get a lot of the same shift that we did in Ruby and Sapphire, where previously everything was quite linear and you just kind of went from one checkpoint to the next checkpoint with not a lot to do outside of the main story. But the main focus in this part of the game is to open up the world for some pretty serious exploration that is completely optional. Like once you get cut, you can go check out the old chateau, or head to the Lost Tower, or to the Solation Ruins, or you can spend a bunch of time just dicking around in Amity Square, or take on the revamped Super Contest Hall, and of course, spend hours exploring the underground, all of which is completely optional. So that's pretty cool. Let's check out
ゲットできました。その時もスーパーボールはその時は50。
任天堂 DS ポケットモンスターハートゴールドソウルシルバー
We grab ourselves a Centret and name it Rex before we head into the Azalea Town gym, where we've had a pretty dramatic upgrade to the gym puzzle here with a little spiderweb cable car thing and some switches to change up the parts. It's a cute little gym puzzle. I like it. But we take on Bugsy, whose whole team has gone up 1 level with a level 15 Metapod, level 15 Kakuna, level 17 Scyther. We head out the front door of the gym and go straight into the battle with Silver, but this time we don't have Mudslap to abuse, because Faulkner's team was roost in this game. But what we do have is Ice Fang, which is so much better. After the battle, we make our way into the Ilex Forest, where the Farfetch'd puzzle has had a bit of an upgrade too. Now we gotta stand on some sticks, which get it to turn around so we can grab it from behind, but also, we gotta do it twice. We get the HM for cut, make our way through the forest, go straight through Goldenrod City and into the doors of the gym with a time of... damn it. Alright, first we gotta go do the little quiz thing at the radio tower to get the radio card, and then Whitney will go back to the gym so we can head through the doors of the gym with a time of 10 minutes and 20 seconds. Time for...
Pocket Monster Black, White.
We make our way into the Nakreen City Gym and pause. Now this is a bit of a weird one because we've dropped from 8 HMs to just 6 HMs, but also we don't really need any of them. Like the only HM you actually need in this game is cut to cut down the one tree at the start of the game. But since we taught cut to cut the cut tree, we don't really need to worry about a HM slave. But you gotta kinda admit that having fly and surf at a bare minimum is pretty handy. So let's all just humor me for a minute and see what we're working with here. Now, once again, the water type starter is the king here, with Samurott learning 5 out of 6 HMs, only missing out on fly. But it is kind of cheating here because surf, waterfall, and dive mean that pretty much every water type is going to be able to learn at least 3 HMs. Our best non-water type option is probably Rufflet, who learns cut, fly, and strength, making it pretty easy for the bird to team up with any old water type and have access to all 6 HMs with just 2 Pokemon. But unfortunately, Rufflet is version exclusive to white, and we're playing on black, so that's not going to work. Another option is to combine a Basculin with a Golurk, because Basculin can learn cut, surf, waterfall, and dive, but Golurk can learn strength, and for some reason fly, which kind of feels like an Iron Giant reference, so I'm okay with it, but it's still weird. But we still don't really need any of the HM, so I'm just going to grab something that can learn surf and strength to make getting around a little bit easier. Plus, we do actually need those in black 2 and white 2. So we catch a Lillipup and name it a Cad. And unpause. We continue through the gym where we must complete a little library puzzle by finding the right books and battling the assorted trainers before we take on the normal type gym leader Lenora with her level 18 Herdia and level 20 Watchhog to earn our basic badge and the TM4 Retaliate. We head out of the library, but we don't even make it to the front door before we find a bunch of Team Plasma grunts stealing the dragon skull from the museum. Lenora is understandably pissed, but we head outside where we find a man named Berg, who is apparently one of the Unova gym leaders, who saw that there was some shit going down and came by to help. Bianca and Charon rock up as well, so we split up to hunt down the thieves. We head out west towards the Pinwheel Forest where we chase a few Plasma grunts around until we have the thief cornered. We have a quick battle before we grab the skull, and then a man named Gorm rocks up, and apparently he is one of the 7 sages, and he seems kinda pissed, but luckily Berg and Lenora turn up and the Plasma dudes leave. Lenora thanks us for our help and gives us a moonstone. We continue up north and head over the Sky Arrow Bridge, which looks incredible for a game that came out on a handheld console in 2010, but we arrive in Castelia City where we go straight to the gym, where Charon has just finished his battle with Berg, who tells us that Team Plasma are at it again down by the docks. He runs off to go check it out, so we follow him to the Prime Pier where we find Bianca. Apparently Team Plasma stole her Muna, which is very not cool. We meet another of Unova's gym leaders named Iris, who's been taking care of Bianca, before we spot a Plasma grunt just before he runs off. So we chase him down and join Berg outside a hotel where the Plasma grunts are hiding out. We have a quick battle with the grunts on the door before we are joined by Bianca and Iris, and we all head inside. We find 3 of the 7 sages, including Getsus, who gives us one of his good old speeches about the heroes of ideals and the Black Dragon who founded Unova, and this doesn't really have anything to do with anything, but the plot thickens when Berg says that it was Getsus who inspired him to love Pokemon the way he does now. And then Berg calls Getsus out for being kind of full of shit, so they give Muna back to Bianca before vowing to revive the legend of Unova, which could mean a whole lot of different things depending on how you look at it, but I think that's kind of the point. And everyone's happy that everyone's happy, so they all leave and we head straight to the gym where we walk through the doors with a time of 18 minutes and 31 seconds. Next up,
Nintendo DS ポケットモンスターブラック2ホワイト2
we grab ourselves a Lillipup and name it Sansapansy. And once again, we have a brand new gym for the sequel, so we make our way into the Burbank City Gym, where I'm fairly confident that guitarist Billy Joe is a Green Day reference, but I'm less sure about who Roughneck Nicky is supposed to be referencing. I'm guessing maybe Nikki Sixx from Motley Crue, but either way, we take on the Poison-type gym leader Roxy with her level 16 Coughing and level 18 Whirlipede to earn our Toxic badge and the TM4 Venoshock. We start to make our way out of the gym, but we don't get too far before we're stopped by some random dude who invites us to the PokerStar Studios, and this is kind of starting to feel like we're going to end up on the casting couch. But we go there anyway, and we are introduced to the very subtly named Mr. Stu Dio. Now, I'm just going to be honest here, this is one of the most painful, cringy parts of any Pokemon game ever made, and really should have been made optional, or just cut from the game entirely, because it's just awful. I'll be very surprised if there's anyone in the comments defending PokerStar Studios, but if you haven't played these games before, the short version is that you have to watch a special screening of the movie Midlife Man of Justice vs. Bryson Man, which is just a dramatized Pokemon battle with a bunch of Hollywood-style bullshit thrown in. Then you have to act in a scripted battle as the Ryulu girl who takes down the evil Bryson Man, with the whole thing being filmed on a green screen so you can watch it back later, which we will not be doing. We head out to the docks where Roxy and Hugh are facing off with Team Plasma, so we join in the battle and take out a Patrat. But then the Team Plasma guys run off towards Flockacy Town, so Roxy gives us the HM for cut, then goes after Team Plasma. We follow along and find one of the grunts, have a quick battle, and then finally they actually leave. Now that the Team Plasma guys are gone, Hugh reckons we should head off to Castelia City, which should sound very familiar, because that's where we just finished up in Black and White. So we head down to the docks and jump on the boat to mainland Unova. Once we arrive in Castelia City, a clown gives us a bicycle for some reason and we head straight to the gym, but it looks like the gym leader's not here. Iris turns up and tells us that she reckons the gym leader Berg is out looking for Team Plasma, and she knows where they might be, so we follow her to the Eastern Pier where we can access the Castelia sewers. He rocks up for some reason and heads straight down into the sewers, so I guess we're going down too. We wander around for a bit, battle a few rats and bats, and eventually find a couple of Team Plasma grunts hiding out. So we team up with Hugh for a quick double battle, and then they kind of just run off again. Berg turns up, and then Hugh gives us the HM for strength for some reason, and immediately leaves. A mysterious man emerges from the shadows to tell us that he was impressed with the power of our Pokemon, before also leaving. Berg has no idea who this dude is, but I feel like he might be important later on. Berg heads back to the gym, and so do we, where we head straight through the doors of the gym with a time of... Hang on one second, I'll get it. Come on. There we go. 19 minutes and 16 seconds. Now, unlike the previous few games, the focus here remains squarely on the story and the characters within that story. Now, we are seeing the world open up a lot more, but the new areas that we get to explore all relate back to the main storyline in some way, which you could see one of two ways. Either Game Freak did a good job of incorporating the world they created into the story they were trying to tell, or you could see it as we're still a bit stuck in a linear narrative without too much of a chance to break off and do your own thing. I'll let you decide which one you think it is, but either way, we get some more Team Plasma shenanigans, but this time, we start to include the various gym leaders as part of the main plot. The most notable in this part of the game being the bug-type gym leader Berg, who really drives the plot forward by being the one actively pursuing Team Plasma. And also, being the first one to call out Getsus for being completely full of shit. So I'm a big fan of Berg. Now let's all just pretend that PokerStar Studios don't exist and have a quick look at the sequels, where there's something pretty cool going on with Team Plasma. Because in the first games, Team Plasma gonna have all the power. Like, they're always one step ahead of everyone else and always in control of every situation. But in the sequels, they have no power. They're just sort of operating in the shadows, trying to claw their way back to where they once were. They feel a lot more desperate. It's a cool little juxtaposition of power dynamics and a nice way to make the games feel different while covering a lot of the same ground. Now that was a lot of big ideas and big words, so let's simplify it a little bit with... Mega 進化で新次元の強さへ Nintendo 3DS ポケットモンスター XY We make our way through the Silage City Gym and pause. Now this is the last generation ever to feature HMs, and finally we have a Pokemon that isn't Mew that can learn every HM in the game with Dragonite. To be fair, it's not that big of an achievement because there's only 5 HMs in these games, but the final HMs are the original Cut, Fly, Surf, and Strength. But not Flash, since we lost it all the way back in Diamond and Pearl. But we have kept Waterfall, since it was introduced all the way back in Gold and Silver. Now once again, the Water type starter is killing it, with Greninja learning 4 out of 5 HMs. So just pair that with anything that can learn Fly, and you're good to go. The best HM slaves other than the frog are probably Corfish and our old friend Barrel, who also learns 4 out of 5 with all but Fly. But there is a Pokemon that they kind of just give you, which will do just fine, because Lapras learns 3 out of 5 HMs, 2 of which are Strength and Waterfall, that I don't really want to waste on Greninja. So as soon as we get to the free Lapras, we're going to take the free Lapras. So feel free to claim the name if you want it. And unpause. We continue through the gym where we do a bit of 3D rock climbing before we take on the rock-type gym leader Grant with his level 25 Tyrant and level 25 Amora, which are the 2 new fossil Pokemon this generation, so that's pretty cool. We grab our Cliff Badge and the TM4 Rock Tomb before we head back out of the gym and take a slightly longer road by following the path all the way to the top of the hill so we can play some Tony Hawk's Pro Rollerblader. We make our way up north to Geosenge Town where we find a Team Flare Grunt who's acting a bit sus. So we follow him for a bit before he just kind of disappears. So we give up and head east where we run into Karina and her Lucario again, and she's keen for a battle. So we take on her to level 25 Lucario, and then after the battle she tells us to meet her at the gym for a real battle. We keep moving on to the Reflection Cave, where we battle a bunch of trainers and run into Tiano, who gives us the TM4 Flash. Yeah, it's just a TM now, so we're going to continue ignoring that Flash exists. We make it through the cave and into Shaylor City, where we run into Tiano and Trevor, who don't really have anything to say, but they reckon we should head to the Tower of Mastery. So we ignore them and head to the gym where they hit us with the old princesses in another castle. So we head to the Tower of Mastery, but before we get too far, Tiano stops us and gives us the intriguing stone, because he reckons it might be a Mega Stone and we should take it to the Mega Evolution Guru. So we head into a very impressive building with a very impressive Lucario statue, where we find Karina and the Mega Evolution Guru. We show him the stone that Tiano gave us and he asks us where we got it. And we get a cute little morality lesson here where you have the option to claim that you found the stone or admit that it was given to you by Tiano. And the guru ain't buying any of your bullshit. So eventually you gotta admit that Tiano gave it to you, but props to Tiano for backing you up here when you straight up lie to this dude. I like this little bit, it's cute. But eventually all the friends rock up and we learn that the Mega Evolution Guru is Karina's granddaddy, and we get a big old exposition dump explaining how the whole Mega Evolution thing works before he offers a Mega Ring to just one of us. Tiano, Trevor, and Shauna all pass, but Serena offers to battle for it, and I can respect that. So we take on her level 28 Meowstic, level 30 Quilladin, and level 28 Absol. She keeps her word after the battle and offers us the Mega Ring, but the Guru reckons we should take on the gym first. So Karina heads back to the gym, and so do we, where we walk through the doors with a time of 32 minutes and 4 seconds. Now this stretch of the games had a pretty important job of introducing and explaining the concept of Mega Evolution, which is the first time they've really brought in a big new mechanic like this, which would turn into a new gimmick every game. But anyways, a lot of this part of the game is just straight up exposition, and they try to keep it interesting by framing it in this big tower with this big statue and the Mega Evolution Guru, but really we're just clicking A and reading a Wikipedia page of explanation. We get some visually interesting areas with the mysterious stones around Geosenge Town and the beaches of Shaylor City, and the Reflection Cave is pretty cool, but just like most of X and Y, it's a little bit all style and no substance. So let's see what's going on in
大地、海、そして大空へ。Nintendo 3DS ポケットモンスターオメガルビーアルファサファイア。
We grab ourselves a Marill and name it Gamma before we make our way through the Juford Town gym, where we've had some pretty serious renovations to turn the gym into an actual gym with like treadmills and shit. We've still got some elements of the original Ruby and Sapphire gym with a little light and dark puzzle thing going on, but we take on Brawly, whose Machop has gone from level 17 to level 14, and Makuhita, who's gone from level 18 to level 16. We head out of the gym and into the Granite Cave, which has been significantly simplified. We still get Flash, which is just a TM now, but all we gotta do is walk down the stairs and we meet up with Steven. We give him the letter, jump on the boat, drop off the Devon goods, battle Team Aqua, and head up north. We also get a little bit of the contest stuff in these games, but it only lasts like under a minute, and let's be honest, we're not going to be doing the contest. But we make our way towards Moorville City and run into Dawn, who is not really a problem for Dilly J, because her Marsh Stomp goes down to a couple of double kicks, because we're not 4 times weak to all of our attacks this time, so we head into Moorville City, which has had some serious urban redevelopment, where we head to the gym, battle Wally, and head straight through the doors with a time of 18 minutes and 46 seconds. Next up...
Even in a Pokemon battle, I'm number 1. Pikachu, Juman Boss!
世界が君とのバトルを待っているポケットモンスターサンムーン
We make our way into the trial, which we kind of already half did last time, but anyway, we take on the Totem Wishy-Washy and pause. Alright, so I know that HMs aren't really a thing in these games anymore, but honestly, I'm kind of just having fun with this whole thing at this point, so let's all just pretend that HMs are still a thing and see, hypothetically, who the best HM slave for Sun and Moon would be if HMs were actually in these games. And I'm basing this off one copy of the game and no trading from older games, because that's just cheating. Now, a lot of the old HM moves just aren't really a thing anymore, so we're definitely not going to be looking at Pokemon that can learn like 6 or 7 different HMs or anything like that, but let's see what we've got to work with. Starting off with Cut, the only Pokemon that actually learns Cut by level up in Sun and Moon is Kartana, who doesn't learn any other HM moves, so that's not very helpful. Well, actually it does get Defog, but like no one cares about Defog. We also have just one Pokemon that can learn Strength by level up, but only when it evolves, and that is Machamp. But again, that's pretty much all it gets. And also I said no trading, and Machamp kind of evolves via trade, so we're struggling a little bit here. Now what we do get are 3 old HMs that reappear as TMs with Fly, Surf, and Waterfall, which means that Pokemon like Dragonite end up with 3 HM moves without learning any by level up. We also get quite a few Pokemon that learn Rock Climb by level up, like the Rockruff line and the Venipede line, but we also get a few Pokemon that can learn Rock Smash via level up, like the Crabrawler line or the Pikipek line. But just like every generation before this one, the Water types come out on top here, with the Wailmer and Clamperl lines being tied for the most HMs, both of which can learn Surf, Dive, Waterfall, and Whirlpool, which means 4 HMs is as good as we're gonna get here. And unpause. We take on the Totem Wishy-Washy and its SOS partner, also Wishy-Washy, but we take out the little Wishy-Washy, and then the big Wishy-Washy calls an Aloma Mola, which we also take out before the big Wishy-Washy turns into a little Wishy-Washy, and we take down that Wishy-Washy to win the battle, complete the trial, and earn our fishing rod. And also the Waterium Z. Then Lana shows us a little dance and drops us back at the Pokemon Center. I wait for the in-game clock to turn back to daytime, and then we Tauros charge our way back down south to the Panola Ranch, where we run into a couple of Sudowoodo blocking the path. We show them the Waterium Z, and they run off. So we Tauros charge our way down to the Battle Royale Dome, where we meet Hapu, who's dealing with a couple of Team Scullions who have been messing with a little Drifloon, and that's not cool. So we have a quick battle and absolutely demolish everything with the absurdly overpowered Z move, Hydro Vortex. The Team Skull guys bail and Drifloon heads home. Hapu thanks us for our help and rides off with the horse she rode in on. We Tauros charge our way over to the Battle Royale Dome, where Gladion has beaten us there. We head inside and meet the mysterious Masked Royale, and I have no idea who the hell this guy is, but we have a weird 4-way battle with the Masked Royale, Gladion, and How, where I didn't really pay attention to the rules, so we just go with old faithful Hydro Vortex and instantly win the whole thing. After the battle, we meet Kiawe, who is apparently the leader of the next trial at the Weller Volcano Park. Gladion touches the front of his head, and then How touches the back of his head, and then we leave. We Tauros charge our way up to the Weller Volcano Park, skip the entire volcano with a quick transition, and Tauros charge our way through the trial post things at 8 minutes and 8 seconds. Let's check out...
Pocket Monster, Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon.
So last time we had a different trial Pokemon between versions because we were playing on Ultra Moon. But this time we have a different trial Pokemon between versions because we're playing on Ultra Moon. As in the trial Pokemon is Arachnid in both Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. Anyways, we take on the Thonum Arachnid and its SOS partners Jupiter and Masquerain to complete the trial and earn our Waterium Z. We Tauros charge our way down to the pseudo-weirdo block on the road, but this time we are confronted by the Ultra Recon Squad guys and Solera is keen for a battle. We take on our level 20 Poipole and continue to abuse the old Hydro Vortex. Otherwise, it's pretty much all the same here. We meet Hapu, we battle Team Skull, head to the Battle Royale Dome, Hydro Vortex everything, Gladion touches the front of his head, Hau touches the back of his head, and we make our way out to the volcano where we go through the trial post things with a time of 10 minutes and 16 seconds. Now this was a very quick one by Sun and Moon standards, which have been the longest games by a pretty long way so far, but I actually didn't mind what they gave us here. The Battle Royale is fine. It's a fun little change of pace in terms of battling and introduces a brand new, never before seen character with the Masked Royale, who I'm sure will be very important later on. We hit all the basic beats we need to with the Team Skull battle, a couple of new characters with Hapu and Kiawe. We also get the biggest missed opportunity in the entire game, because why did we skip the entire volcano? Why would you base a game in Hawaii, a place famous for its volcanoes, and skip the whole volcano? We just take a magical elevator ride instead of what could have been one of the coolest parts of these games. Ruby and Sapphire did it better 14 years before these games came out. It just feels lazy. Alright, that's enough. Let's check out
Pocket Monster, Let's Go Pikachu, Let's Go Eevee.
We make our way into the Cerulean City Gym, which has had a bit of a visual upgrade, but nothing too dramatic's really changed here. So we take on Misty, who has swapped out her level 18 Staryu for a level 18 Psyduck. She's still got her Starmie, but it's dropped from level 21 to level 19. We head out of the gym and up north, where we take on our rival Trace, who is a bit of a scrub with his level 12 Pidgey, level 12 Oddish, and level 13 Pikachu. We do the Nugget Bridge, battle a bunch of trainers, and head in to see Bill, who has turned himself into a Nidorino, if you were ever wondering what this was supposed to be. I always thought it was like a Kangaskhan or a Marowak or something. It's very clearly a Clefairy in Fire Red and Leaf Green. He also gets stuck in a Kabuto costume in the anime, and turns himself into a Rattata in the manga. But anyways, in this game, he's a Nidorino. So we turn him back into Bill, grab the ticket, head to the boat and take on Trace for the second time, but this time, Trace is fighting dirty, because his level 20 Pidgeotto starts spamming sand attacks over and over, but luckily, Brony has the ability, doesn't give a fuck, and sweeps his whole team, including his level 21 Pikachu and level 20 Oddish. We rob the old man and he teaches Brony how to use the secret technique, Chop Down, which is, it's just cut, but like you don't have to actually teach it to anyone. So we head off the boat, chop down the tree and make our way into the gym with a time of 27 minutes and 49 seconds. Let's check out
Nintendo Switch Pocket Monster Sword Shield.
We make our way into the Holbury gym and pause. Yeah, I'm gonna keep doing this. Look, we've come this far, so we may as well see it through. And this time we have our old friend Kartana with Cut and Defog, but we also have the triumphant return of Farfetch'd, who can learn Cut and Fly, as well as Galarian Farfetch'd, who cannot learn Cut, but can learn Rock Smash and Defog. None of which is very helpful, to be honest, but if we keep looking, we can see that Strength can now be learned by the entire Machop line, the Mudbray line, the Stuffle line, the Cufant line, and Pinsir. Also not that helpful, but a pretty big upgrade from Sun and Moon. But surprisingly, no one gets rock climb in these games for whatever reason, and the Abra line is the only line to get Flash, but Abra is only available on the DLC, and I'm not including the DLC, so that pretty much means that no one gets Flash. Now we've also lost Waterfall as a TM, but we've added both Whirlpool and Dive as TRs, which means that once again, Whalema is having a good time with the same 4 HMs as Sun and Moon, with Surf, Waterfall, Whirlpool, and Dive. And if we did want to consider the DLC, then Mudkip would be the champion here with 5 HMs, learning Surf, Waterfall, Whirlpool, Dive, and Rock Smash. But if you don't want to fork out the 45 Australian dollary dues, then Cramorant is the big winner here with access to Fly, Surf, Whirlpool, and Dive. But can also learn Defog by breeding with a Galarian Farfetch'd, giving you 5 HMs on just 1 aquatic bird. And unpause. We continue through the gym, which has a nice classic gym puzzle for us. Hit the coloured switches in the right order to get past the water. Also getting some Mario vibes from all the pipes, and that's always a good thing. But we take on the water-type gym leader Nessa with her level 22 Goldeen, level 23 Arrokuda, and level 24 Dreadnought, who is a rock and water type, which you may think would be a problem for our fire-type Alien Raven, but the super effective fighting type attack Max Knuckle sorts this one out for us, and we earn our water badge, yes, it's literally called the water badge, and the TM4 Whirlpool, which used to be a HM. But we head out the front door of the gym where we find Olena, who invites us to dinner, so we head straight to the Captain's Table restaurant where we sit down with Sonia and Rose, who are still trying to figure out this whole Dynamaxing thing. But we make our way out east where we find the very lazily named Galar Mine number 2, and run into Bede, who's keen for a battle, so we take down his level 21 Solosis, level 22 Gothita, level 24 Hatena, and level 22 Galarian Ponyta. We continue through the Galar Mine number 2, where we battle a few trainers, get bullied by a wild Scraggy, and come across a couple of Team Yell grunts who actually seem like pretty nice guys. Like, they just politely ask us for a quick battle, and then Hop rocks up, and he's just kind of a dick to them for like no reason. So we team up with Hop for a battle, but to be honest, I'm kind of 100% on Team Yell's side here, because they did nothing wrong. But we keep moving on through the mines, where once again we find Team Yell, but this time, it's the next gym leader Kabu who's having a go at him. Because Kabu's all pissed off at them for, and I'm not even making this up, distracting the car call from work by being too nice to them. How are Team Yell the bad guys in this situation? I'm joining Team Yell and starting a union. This is bullshit. But we make it out of the mines and head back to Motostoke, where we find Marnie, who's keen for a battle. So we take on her level 24 Krogunk, level 24 Scraggy, and level 26 Morpeko before we have a nap and head into the gym, where we walk through the doors with a time of 23 minutes and 30 seconds. Now this little stretch between gyms is fine. There's nothing really all that bad about it, but there's also not really anything all that good going on here either. We get a couple of mildly interesting battles with Bede and Marnie, and the team up with Hop. And there's a new little twist on the Pokeball that isn't a Pokeball shtick with the Galarian Stunfisk, just like Voltorb and Fungus in the previous generations. And it's also pretty cool to have a quote-unquote evil team who aren't really all that evil, like at all. Team Yell are not the bad guys. Like, actually read their dialogue. Seriously, I'm gonna pause this bit so we can go through it. What they actually say is, "Excuse me, mate, sorry to bother you. You're the one taking part in the gym challenge, right?" And then the other dude says, "Crikey, but that's really something. I'd love a battle against a great trainer like you." These are the nicest dudes in the world. How does anyone think they're the bad guys? Either way, the point is that these games continue to be very safe. Not really trying anything new or taking any risks. Speaking of games that didn't take any risks,
Nintendo Switch ポケットモンスターブリリアントダイヤモンドシャイニングパール
we continue on with the BDSP tradition of the world's laziest upgrades with an identical gym puzzle to Diamond and Pearl, but with like a few more pixels, which is weird because they already updated this exact gym puzzle in Platinum.
It is evolving, just backwards.
We take on Gardenia with the same team as Diamond and Pearl, but we make our way out of the gym and up north where we get the biggest update to these games so far when Cynthia gives us the Hidden Moves app. So now we can summon a wild Bidoof to use Cut. I don't know, it's kind of weird, but it means that there are no more HMs in these games. Otherwise, it's exactly the same game as Diamond and Pearl, with the exception of Robert learning Power Up Punch, so now he's even more overpowered. But we make our way through the doors of the gym with a time of 39 minutes and 5 seconds. Just one more to go.
みんな好きに生きていい。
そいつは教えてくれる。夢中はいいもんだと。そうだね。でも靴は脱ぎ。
ポケットモンスタースカーレットバイオレット。
We head into the artisan gym and pause. Alright, this one's gonna be easy because there is very little love for the odd HMs in these games. No one learns cut by level up, no one learns flash by level up, no one learns rock climb by level up, and dive is no longer a TM. Now Mudkip does pretty well with 4 HMs being Surf, Waterfall, Whirlpool and Rock Smash, but the Waterbirds win the final round with both Cramorant and Swanna getting Fly, Surf, Whirlpool, Dive and Defog. Dive and Defog being egg moves for Swanna and Cramorant respectively. And that's it. That's the final HM slaves. We had a duck, a red dragon thing, Peekaboo and a dinosaur, a beaver and a bird, a dog, the Loch Ness monster, a fish, and some more birds. And you know what? I'm gonna miss HMs, because I know that sometimes Game Freak took things too far with too many HMs, or just relying on them too much to the point that they became irritating, but I feel like the idea of HMs, if executed correctly, could really open up the gameplay beyond what the modern ride Pokemon can offer. Like, just imagine a world where HMs were used in a similar way to the rune abilities in a game like Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom, with the unlimited potential of 18 elemental types and over 1,000 Pokemon. Like, ice types that can freeze water, or steel types that can move metals, or psychic types that can stop time, or any Pokemon that can build things that look like a dick. It would be amazing. Yeah, that's probably never gonna happen. And unpause. We take on the gym test with a game of Sunflora hide and seek. So we glitch our way through finding the 10 Sunflora before we take on the grass type gym leader Brassius, who does a full-on Deadpool style superhero landing.
Woo! Superhero landing! Yeah, that's really hard on your knees.
But we take down his level 16 Petalil, level 16 Smoliv, and level 16 Sudowoodo, who is a rock-type tree that becomes a grass-type tree when it puts on its little hat. And then after the battle, Spider Rider evolves into, let's be honest, one of the ugliest designs in all of Pokemon. Now, last time, we hit our PB with just 3 minutes and 17 seconds between the Cortando gym and the Artisan gym. But Lavencia is like right there. I reckon we can beat that time easily. So let's get this done. 3, 2, 1, let's cut out the loading time and go! We ride on Koraidon straight through Artisan and immediately we're going off-road. We're hopping fences and jumping down cliffs and leaping straight over the river. And no phone calls this time, no distractions. There is nothing to fear but fear itself. One more cliff, over the bridge, straight through Lavencia and into the doors of the gym with a time of 1 minute and 54 seconds. And that is a... So let's go back through everything and see how we went with Scarlet and Violet with just 1 minute and 54 seconds, followed by the uncharacteristically short Sun and Moon with just 8 minutes and 8 seconds. Then Crystal with 9 minutes and 39 seconds, followed by Gold and Silver with 9 minutes and 45 seconds. We've got Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon with 10 minutes and 16 seconds, then Heart Gold and Soul Silver with 10 minutes and 20 seconds. A little bit of a jump here to Ruby and Sapphire with 17 minutes and 40 seconds, followed by the shortest Sinnoh game by a long way with Platinum at 18 minutes and 1 second. We've got Black and White at 18 minutes and 31 seconds, Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire at 18 minutes and 46 seconds, and Black 2 and White 2 with 19 minutes and 16 seconds. We cracked the 20-minute mark with Emerald at 21 minutes and Sword and Shield at 23 minutes and 30 seconds. Then we finally hit the Kanto games with Yellow at 26 minutes and 19 seconds, Fire Red and Leaf Green with 27 minutes and 25 seconds, Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee with 27 minutes and 29 seconds, and Red and Blue with 29 minutes and 9 seconds. And then in third place, or third last place, depending on how you look at it, a game that I actually had to go back and check that it really did take this long, with X and Y, with a surprisingly lengthy 32 minutes and 4 seconds. Second place goes to Diamond and Pearl with a gym-skipping 38 minutes and 4 seconds. And finally, the longest game between the second and third gyms is Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl with 39 minutes and 5 seconds. So let's chuck all of that on the graph, bring in the times for the previous 2 runs, and see what we've got.
And it looks like everything's starting to even out a little bit now. Like the games that had really long runs to the first gyms have had a pretty short run between the last couple of gyms, including Sun and Moon and Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, which are still the longest games so far. But both X and Y and Sword and Shield are starting to catch up. And there does seem to be a little bit of a trend here with the run between the second and third gyms, where we start to see a lot more freedom to explore, pretty much across the board. We are well and truly out of that early game tutorial feel now, and we are getting the opportunity to try out a whole bunch of cool new stuff that each generation of games introduces, like the breeding in Gold and Silver, or the contests in Ruby and Sapphire, or the underground in Diamond and Pearl. And let's not talk about PokerStar Studios. We're starting to meet some new characters now that aren't just the regional professor or the rival or your mum, but we're also starting to see some more challenging battles now and getting to a point where just your starter is not going to be enough to get you through every single battle in the game. Although, pretty much everything I just said is only really relevant to the first 5, maybe 6 generations, because the newer games are pretty much just more of the same at this point. But as always, this has been a ton of fun to do and just really focus in on what happens between the gyms. So I'm probably going to keep doing this. Maybe. Probably. I don't know. But thank you so much for watching, ladies and gentlemen. I will see you next time.